What do people here? What do you all think of Toy Story? What's the panel's view? I think it's kind of split.
I didn't watch it, so it's all you guys.
I enjoyed it. It's better than 4, in my opinion. Still, the first 3 are top tier, but this one's a nice addition, and it's better than 4.
I think everybody agrees 4 was.
I don't think anyone's saying that it's better than any of the first 3 in any way.
I guess it feels more connected to the story, I guess, of Bonnie. It just felt like, I guess, a side quest more.
I mean, that's what I was saying. The first 3 movies, that's Andy's story. And you could wrap it up, put that on your bookshelf. That's Andy's story. And now we're telling Bonnie's story. And this movie is clearly from the little girl's perspective versus the boy's perspective of the first 3.
And my theater was the exact same. It was packed with families. And I mean, if we're going to still ask the question if it needs to be made, they need this movie. They had a great time, great summer family film. I mean, what else are they going to watch? Disclosure Day, which I did watch, is abysmal. So I'm glad that they had that great time, Father's Day weekend, and they clapped at the end too. Everyone was having fun. So yeah, I'm happy that it was made for that. And it was very entertaining for me too.
Blaine, Steph, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't see it. I've been watching our Criticless reviews. I was debating on it, and it's been staying in the 50% range. We're at like 70 reviews now, and it's still at like 54%. So it seems to be pretty divisive. So I pumped the brakes. I was like, I think I'm going to wait. My kids also weren't chomping at the bit to see it because 4 was the only one that's come out in their lifetime, and they didn't care about it at all. So,
I didn't care for it, honestly. I'm not really liking these Bonnie stories when it comes to the Toy Story movies. When I take into consideration how they're made, what the creators are saying about it, and how they're writing it, I don't really care about it. I think that when marketing these movies, you're pushing Buzz and Woody, and that's just not what the movie is about. And I know that with this one, they're saying that this is Jessie's story. And unfortunately for me, I think that this movie kind of cheapens her story in Toy Story 2. And, you know, her story with Emily and how she finally got over that. And this movie like really cheapens that moment. And it kind of also exploits the audience when it comes to that story, because that's such a great story. She has a fantastic backstory that they dealt with and resolved in the Toy Story movies already. So when you go to this story, when you go to this movie, it really cheapens that and sort of exploits how you felt about her story and with Emily and everything. And the reason I say it's exploitative is because she's already dealt with all of that stuff. And so because she's already dealt with all of that stuff, when she's going through this all over again, it kind of makes that character of Jessie seem really selfish, because we've already seen her go through and resolve all of these things. So it really does a disservice to that character of Jessie. And I know I might be like looking really, really deep into this child's movie, but I think that if this was a one-off movie where we're finally just now learning about Jessie's backstory, it would be different, as opposed to this is already a part of her storyline in the past like 3 movies, because in Toy Story 4 she really didn't get anything with her character. But in the past like 3 movies that we've had, Toy Story 2 especially, when you meet Jessie, this movie just completely really does her a disservice to that character.
Rob, thanks for joining us. Any thoughts on Toy Story 5? Did you see it?
I did. I did. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I love from the time it opened on the desert island with the crashed cargo container, and I was in.
Yeah,
I was locked.
That's how I felt right from the opening moment there.
Yeah, and when they have to go back and go to old Buzz and use something on him to upgrade themselves and unlock the upgrade, I thought that was great. But overall, I would like to have heard all of Steph's comments. I just came in right at the last end of them. But I mean, I enjoyed what it was. I was emotionally connected to it. And I think that, there was I was very haunted by the shots when they were looking out of the window and seeing all the kids looking into their devices, screens. And I was, and they did that twice in the movie. And that was haunting to me, because I was thinking about myself. If somebody was looking in on me, how often they would find me staring into a screen. and not living my life. And like right now. No, I'm just kidding. But, am I? But no, and I did think it was pretty funny. And I have to say, I was too old to ever have a Conan O'Brien's character, one of those things like those potty training devices or whatever.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to figure out, what is this?
I
'Cause I'm
still don't
old.
know how it works. How is
Yeah,
that
and
supposed to help?
but it got to I was like, I liked how old technology was being repurposed with new technology, and I had a lot of fun with the movie. I did think it ended abruptly though.
Yeah.
It was just suddenly over.
No,
But
I really.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was, go ahead, Elaine. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
I thought it was a clever way to revisit Jessie. I mean, we already know that Andy, she was the first toy that was introduced to Bonnie as this rough and toughest cowgirl in the whole West. That was how. So, and even in the beginning of the fourth movie, she was the one that Bonnie favored. So I like that they're showcasing that boys and girls play differently, and girls gravitate more to girl dolls. Like I know I played with dolls with a little bit, but I was thinking about when I play video games and I have the option to have a character creation in it. I usually always have chosen a female, a girl to play. That's just how I like to play it.
It's interesting that you say that, simply because for Toy Story 4, like at the end of Toy Story 3, and along with like, all of the other side movies that they've done outside of the whole Toy Story movies, Bonnie actually loves playing with Woody. She really likes playing with Woody. And the only reason that they favored Bonnie over Woody is because they changed the character of Bonnie and turned her into the director's daughter. That's the only reason that they changed her, because you can see the difference in when you're watching these movies and the way that Bonnie plays with her toys. They changed it. They really did. And the director for Toy Story 4 was on in an interview said that I watch my daughter play with her toys and she doesn't play with Woody. Whereas in the movies, Bonnie does play with Woody. She loves her cowboy doll, right? She calls it my cowboy doll. She gets really excited when she sees Woody. And in all of these other movies, she plays with Woody. She has no problem with Woody. But the director wanted Bonnie to be his daughter. And that's not only the other things that they changed, like they also changed the way Bonnie played with her toys, because when she's playing with her toys in Toy Story 5, she plays with them like Andy, and it's just another way of them to sort of kind of hit your nostalgia. Oh yeah, this is how Andy plays with his toys. But that's not how Bonnie always played with her toys. Bonnie, like little girls, made herself a part of the story. She made herself a character in the way she played with her toys, in her playtime.
Here's
and
the thing, though.
Andy didn't do that, but they changed that. But
here's the thing, though. I wouldn't
that.
canonize Bonnie from Toy Story 4. I mean, I think I would much prefer a more authentic girl playing with toys as Toy Story 5 than to say, oh no, they're violating the spirit of the character of Toy Story 4.
And girls like
I think that's
and
wrong.
All that.
The other thing is, I'm looking at a lot of the reactions, especially in the chat here, and the sense that I get is people are responding to Toy Story 5 the way they responded to Phantom Menace. Oh, that wasn't my movie. That's not a Star Wars movie. This is so different from that. But eventually we've grown to realize how important the Phantom Menace was and the other prequels compared to the sequels. And I think that's kind of where we're going to wind up with Toy Story 5 is, if you love the first three, you are going to hate Toy Story 5. But at the same time, you have to recognize it is good storytelling. It is, for the most part, your characters coming back. And I think over time, you're going to realize, and also kids love it. And over time, you're just going to recognize that it is not the awful movie you think it is.
I think that the movie had potential. I really do. Toy Story 4 is awful. I can go back and watch Toy Story 4 and be reminded of the awful movie that it is. It is absolutely awful. The characters aren't the same characters that they were in the previous films. And if we're being consistent with these movies, because it's Toy Story 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and it has to be consistency throughout this world, it's not consistent. And even the character of Bonnie is not consistent because the director wanted to change her. So from Toy Story 3 going into Toy Story 4 and 5. So like you have to have some consistency there, and there is none. in terms of 4, 5, and 6, except for let's change these characters and try to sort of hit your nostalgia for all of you that like these movies. Yes, these movies are made for children, and children are going to like them regardless. Yes, this movie is going to make $1 billion because it carries the name of Toy Story. But I mean, I think that there was a lot of potential in this film, especially going the route of lily pad and technology, because those scenes were really good. It's just I find it unnecessary to dive even deeper into Jesse's backstory and bring Emily into it and have her end up on the farm. I was all completely unnecessary. Let's just deal with her going up against the lily pad, and you just didn't have that. We should have had more of that, more butting heads, and all of the other stuff is just completely unnecessary. Having Jessie have to retread her old issues that she already dealt with, it just made Jessie's character look bad. Not to mention what they did with Woody and Buzz. Like, it was just really bad.
Derek, good to see you. DA, did you see Toy Story 5? Any thoughts?
Yeah, how do you play with
I did
your
not
Woody?
see Toy Story 5. I will not see Toy Story 5. Zero interest. I like the first trilogy, was great. I think, what are they doing? A second trilogy now? Is that basically what they're
That's basically what they're doing.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, it was a good, entertaining movie, and I just, whether or not we disagree about certain jokes or certain directions, it was entertaining, and I think there was a reason for it to exist that is meaningful. A movie about devices hindering a child's development in regards to forming important social skills and finding balance and learning the difference between the value of real friendship and how many
Virtual
followers you
friendship.
have on online. I just think this is a serious issue that's only continued to get worse exponentially for especially girls. But I think there's something, these movies are always, they're kids movies, but I always view them as actually family movies or for adults, because adults were kids once, and they also have that nostalgic feeling of playing with their favorite toys. And I saw the first Toy Story as a kid, but I still find that same nostalgic feeling of the continuous installments that this particular franchise brings. And I still felt that here. I felt the same with the energy in the entire theater. So we can disagree on certain jokes and stuff, which I totally understand why people would have issues with Woody and Buzz. I just feel like there's plenty of good stuff to warrant its existence, and we can see that in terms of its reception to the audience that it's serving. And I feel like the Toy Story audience, for the most part, is still continuing to be served.
Well,
Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I was surprised. I mean, one of the things, I guess I shouldn't have been, there was multi-generations. When I saw it in IMAX, I went down to the Irvine Spectrum and saw it. There were families with young kids. This was their first Toy Story movie.
Yeah.
And they're I saw families all wearing Toy Story t-shirts going in together. And the energy around that was palpable. And I think that what's really interesting about I've never looked at the Toy Story films as a interconnected sort of universe. They're films with continuing characters that have thematic similarities. But this is Pixar's this is Pixar. This is the first Toy Story movie is really what started Pixar. This is their foundational franchise. And I think one of the interesting things about the Toy Story movies is they're not in any hurry to make them. Because if you look at the time between each film, they're not just cranking these out. And I think that when you look at them, I thought this film, like Cookies brought up, there's a lot of interesting things, how the girls were treating each other when they found out, one of them was still playing with toys, and how she had to sort of sheepishly turn away from that, and how easily influenced she was. And they could have gone harder with the difference between technology and toys. But the fact is, kids aren't playing with toys at all today. And the fact that there's even toys left in this universe. And remember, these toys are basically from the 50s and 40s. These are not toys that have any connection to the modern age at all, with the possible exception of Buzz. But I've always thought of Buzz as being one step away from Big Track from the 1979 Sears catalog.
Or Major Matt Mason.
Major Matt, because that's what Buzz is with electronics. And no one, even people that collect Star Wars toys, don't even know who Major Matt Mason is anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that I did enjoy it. The filmmaking is impeccable. I mean, the direction of these movies, the animation of these movies. Randy Newman's score was great. It was great to see him come back. And, I kind of expect each one of these movies to be standalones.
Oh, no, I don't.
So, yeah.
I have a quick question. One repeating thing that I kept seeing in a lot of our reviews was people talking about, I guess, like the feminization of Buzz at some point in this movie.
Yes.
And a lot of people kept harping on it. Is it as bad as like everybody's saying, or
It's bad, but I'll say there's a story reason for it, because it's how Buzz is seen through Bonnie's eyes. Bonnie is pretending with Buzz and doing feminine girl things with Buzz. Would you say that's accurate, Steph?
Yeah.
Steph,
Sure.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It's like,
Sure. But I
Bonnie
honestly,
playing with
like,
Buzz, not Andy.
Sure.
okay?
It seems like there's a thing where
I don't
delving
think
into
that-
lore, I don't know, but the toys seem to adapt. They have adaptive behavior by what child is playing with them. And we saw,
Exactly.
like, with the new Buzzes, the Buzz Army, and one of them gets found by one of the kids camping in the area, and the rest of the Buzzes go after him. But once the child finds him, and he's like, the child's like caring for him as his parents are reading a story, he's like, oh, I'm good now. This is where I'm supposed to be. Like, he finds his purpose there. And I don't know, I feel like that's their mission, to make that's the Lord. That's their mission. Toys are to make children happy, whichever individual child that is. We see Bonnie play. We also see Blaze play, two different girls, different imaginations. It's interesting to see how she saw even Bullseye. Bullseye was a completely different iteration too in Blaze's mind. So that was, even in the girls that we saw playing out imaginary scenes was different. And I don't know. Yeah, I think that the toys are happy as long as children are playing with them, not stuffed in an attic, and because they're living out their purpose.
I mean, two things.
that's
You're bringing up
actually,
you're bringing up two things that are really important. One is this idea of play. I mean, even though Lily Pad is not, she's the antagonist, but she's not evil. The movie still upholds the idea of play. To get off your devices and have fun and play. And the other thing that's in this movie that you don't see in the other two movies is Bonnie's story. The fact that she is this girl who is somewhat of a wallflower, who has a hard time making friends and falls under that peer pressure. And, I really felt like the way they dealt with that is the way I think parents would want to deal with something like that when they see that in their own kids. And so I just cannot get myself to hate this movie because it's not Andy's story, or it's not the way I wanted, or the way I remember Toy Story when I was a college student or a college graduate when I first saw it.
Well, remember, this story it's always been about parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been about children. It's always been about what parents are supposed to know about their children that they don't know. And one of the great things about this movie, I love the imagination sequences when you saw what the girls were envisioning, when they were playing with their toys. I thought that was amazing, and the different variations of those things happening. I mean, there's a reason why these toys are not modern toys, because the idea of play, the way you really had to bring imagination to these toys. I mean, Buzz has lights that light up, but for the most part, these toys are all imagination-based toys. They're not toys from the modern age. They're toys from 40s, 50s, even back to Woody's a 30s toy.
So look, regardless of what we think, it's a third of the way already to $1 billion. It will be
in 3 days. In
3 days. So it's gonna make $1 billion. Not movies that make $1 billion doesn't mean they're great movies, but it's good for the overall box office.